my name is Leilani, and I want to talk to you about IEPs and whether or not a homeschool parent should get an IEP created for their child with a learning disability, unique ability, special needs, whether or not they should do that. And I think it's a perfect time of year to talk about this because we all are thinking of goals and how are we going to accomplish these goals. So, IEP, Individualized Education Program. Now, I'm a former public and private school teacher, and so I've been through a lot of IEP meetings. I've written IEP, I know the things, okay? I'm very familiar with it. I've taken classes, done all the things. But I'm a homeschool mom too. Been a homeschool mom for 10 years, and I love advocating for the homeschool world, all my families, especially those that have children with learning disabilities. So I actually, if you don't know, which I think a lot of you do, I have a daughter with Down syndrome. She is currently 7 years old right now, but I also have children with ADHD in the family, and it is obvious right now after I say that if I sent my kids to public or private school, they would have this lovely IEP drafted out for them every single year. Now, IEPs take a lot of time to do. You have to meet with people, there's planning and observations and gathering data and paperwork. It's a lot of stuff to do. Now, for the homeschool parent, there's a couple reasons why you would want to have an IEP done. Now, some states, some districts, there are certain reasons why they may be requesting it. There may be some special circumstances and privileges. I know, for example, the state of Florida is actually in a process right now that if you are doing the Unique Ability Scholarship and you do get an IEP, there are some benefits to it, more money. So IEPs, there are reasons a homeschool parent will want to get that done other than just to get it done. But if you're one of those parents that is debating whether to get it done because you were in public school and you had to get it done and you think you have to get it done just because you did it then, let's talk about it because it is definitely not mandatory to have one done for your child. So simply put, an IEP is a document that is going to talk about your child's learning needs, what the public or private school is going to provide service-wise, and the goals, the educational and behavioral socialization goals for your child. As a homeschool parent, it is very possible for you to be able to collect this data on your own and not have to go through the school system to do all these things. So simply put, the first thing is how does your child perform in general? The learning needs that they have. The reality is our kids are unique. They're going to perform, actually all of our kids are unique. They're all going to perform differently and they're all going to have different learning needs. So you're going to gather some data. You can write it as a brainstorm moment on a sheet of paper. You can start interviewing people that work with your kids, whether it's your husband, or wife. They could be working with you on this whole process. Anybody who babysits your kids, works with your kids, tutors your kids, grandparents, older siblings, and a lot of us do have kids that are involved with therapy. Now, I know, for example, our therapist, our occupational therapist, physical therapist, speech therapist, every 6 months they do some kind of evaluation on my kids. They do. And there's documentation. You can gather that data. Of course, when they do that, they usually have a meeting with me and we converse and take notes. Bring it all in, put it in a little stack, have that data ready. And then you want to start looking at any kind of socialization. That's another thing that you can ask from the family members, relatives, etc. So it's not just educational, it's socialization, how they work with other people, respond, do they look people in the eyes, do they talk where they're able to be understood, the comprehension, so those kind of things. You also want to look at work habits. So, when it work as in educational work, this is just one example. Focus, because that's a big one, right, for a lot of our kiddos. Can they sit and focus for long periods of time? So that could be one of the things that you notice. They can only focus at most 5 minutes at a time. How they hold things like pencils and forks and writing utensils. Now, for our special needs kids, we have, we may come across some practical things. Like I said, the fork being held, going to the bathroom, doing chores around the house like laundry, washing dishes, how we follow instructions, like the first one instruction, 2-step instructions, 3-step instructions. Can they do the 3-step instructions? Also, in order, like getting ready for bed, do they have a process of doing that, and do they follow that process? I know some of our kids are very, very strict in their schedule where they have to have things a certain way, and if they don't go that way, there's complete meltdowns. Well, is that something, and that's going to the next step, is that something that you want to be working on? So what you're going to do is just write down all these things, all these work habits. If your curriculum has grades, you can write down those grades. Any educational habits, any test results that you pull up, whether it's academic, whether it's from therapy, whether it's any kind of test results that you can think of, any notes that you have from your, like I said, all your family members, tutoring, all the different people that work with your kids. Of course, behavioral observations that you see, behavioral as in how they treat other people. For example, maybe your kid has a problem with throwing when they're angry. That's a behavioral observation that you may want to work on. So you have all these things compiled. It may take some time. It may take some brainstorming to do. You're basically just observing and documenting and bringing it all together. And like I said, this is what's happening with an IEP. Okay. And so you're going to take all these things together and you're going to look at them and you're going to start saying, what are my goals? What are my goals for my child? Now, obviously, in the IEP with the school system, they're going to look at the services that need to be provided for your child. And that can be part of your goals. Like maybe you want your child to take an extra speech therapy session, which is something that we did recently because I really wanted to work on that speech. Maybe you want to add a dance class, or maybe you want to add a music therapy class. Maybe you're noticing that they're being drawn to a specific sport, or maybe they love running. Maybe they could do some kind of running club. So that could be like services provided, right? But it's also part of the goals, right? Because the next step is going to be the goals that you're going to write down. Where are you going? You've got the information, and what are you going to take? How are you going to take it to the next step to now make it happen? Make it work in your favor, work in the direction that you want it to work. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube. Maybe there's one specific goal that you have, right? You want your child to focus better. So you start Googling and YouTubing, how can I help my child focus better? Or you could just watch this video. That must stick in the iCards, because I did a video on that, right? Because that was one of my many, many goals. And actually, this is your chance to subscribe, because I'm going to be talking a lot about some reading goals and how we can get our kids that are younger to learn how to read. Yes, because that is where I am really focused on right now. I feel very strongly about reading. I'm just going to throw that out there. But reading is also a lifelong thing, especially for our kids that take longer to learn how to read. So I'm going to make some of those videos for you guys, and subscribe to this channel. All right. So you've got your goals, and be as creative as you want to with it. Of course, discuss this with your husband or wife and map them out. This is something that we do at least once a year. And honestly, because of our therapist, they do it every 6 months. I kind of end up doing it every 6 months too, just because it's there and I'm thinking about it. So I actually do this with all my kids, whether or not they should have an IEP or not. But this is the process of an IEP. The only step you would need to take if it was going to be a proper IEP is actually having it written in that IEP format document, which, to be honest, as a homeschool parent, if you don't need that done, why waste your time? I'm just saying. There is the other part of the IEP, which I did fail to mention, is how things are measured. And that's also good to know, and that's also good to contemplate and decide. Maybe you're just measuring things through observation. Maybe you're measuring things from your other speech therapist, occupational therapist, all those people that come alongside you to help. Maybe you're measuring things with grades, with the curriculum that you're using, and maybe you're measuring things with a standardized test or some kind of educational test, standardized, educational, nationally normed, all those different tests that are out there. Also, leave me a comment down below if you want me to really delve into the different types of nationally normed tests there are out there and the difference between those. That's a video I've been really kind of thinking about making. It's a lot of research. I've tested with many of those. But let me know in the comments down below if it's worth my time, because it's going to take a lot of time. But if you want it, let me know. So I think that basically covers all the little different bullet points of an IEP without making it so incredibly challenging. But I do think it's important for a mom of any child that's homeschooling for you to really map out those goals and really look at where they are, just observing and examining and analyzing your child and seeing what you can do to help them move forward. But as a warning, do not compare your child to any other children, because they are unique. All children are unique. That's the truth. Also, do not get so incredibly nitpicky that you're only focused on the negative. You need to notice some improvements, and you need to document all those things that they have improved over the years, and you need to make note of it, and you need to observe it, and you need to applaud them for it. So, and you will get bogged down if you just focus on all the things that you have not accomplished. Don't do that. Focus on those things that you have accomplished as well with your kids, and make those observations as well. Like I can say right now, my daughter is starting to write her name and spend more time with a pen, or actually markers, that's her big thing, markers in her hand, coloring and using markers more than she used to before. She didn't want to do it. Now she will sit for 30 minutes to 45 minutes scribbling in a coloring book and attempting to write things out. She will pretend to play with it. That's a huge improvement for her. So, and I applaud that to her. Now, do I want her to improve in that area? Of course I do. There's always room for improvement, but she has come so far. And note when your child has come so far, write those things down and applaud them. I had to say that twice. Applaud them for it. I had to say it 3 times because it's that important. Otherwise, we just get it's not a good, healthy thing to do. Is getting so down on ourselves, right? So, with that being said, guys, should a homeschool parent perform an IEP? Of course, it depends on your situation, but in reality, like if you don't need it for a special situation, it's a simple list of goals and where they are at. That's it. And we should be doing that anyway, right? For all our kids, I think, personally. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful year homeschooling and all the things. Let me know in the comments down below if you have anything to add to this video, any thoughts, share with me any stories that you have. I love hearing the stories. So thank you guys again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.